Hello there, welcome to another Verbaling class. My name is Hamish and I'm going to be taking you through this class this next hour and focusing in on job interviews, how best to prepare to answer questions with an English-speaking company in job interviews, and in particular, how to best answer the most popular question in a job interview which is tell me about yourself. And we're going to look at why they're asking that question, and we're going to talk about the things you can talk about when you're trying to answer it, and how best we can prepare a really solid answer. Because most of the time it's going to be the first question they ask you in a job interview. So to get that one right can be a real boost to your confidence, I think, in interviews like this, and interviews which can often be quite a nerve-wracking experience when you're interviewing for a job. Just a reminder, these first 2 minutes are for Verbaling Premium users. If you want to get that first spot at a class you're really interested in going, please consider upgrading your membership to Verbaling Premium. Let me put the link in there, and then I will say hello. There we go. Say hello to the students who are here with us now. First of all, let me say hello. Is it Jesus? How do I say your name? Hello.
Hello. Hello. My name is Jesus.
Jesus. Okay. Hi. How are you?
Fine. This is my first time in this kind of classes.
Okay. Great. Well, welcome to Verbaling. I'm really glad you joined us today. Jesus, tell me, where are you from?
I'm from Valencia, Spain.
Spain. Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. And are you working or are you studying right now?
No, now I am unemployed.
Okay, so you're right. Okay, so you're looking for work. What kind of work are you looking for?
I am looking for IT.
Mm-hmm.
I am computer science student. So.
Mm-hmm. So did you study that in the past? Do you have qualifications?
Yes, I have the bachelor of
right.
Technical bachelor.
Okay, great. And tell me, where would you like to work? Would you like to work in Spain, or are you interested in working in a foreign country?
I tried during this year find work here in Spain, but now it's a hard situation. So I'm now looking for other countries. In fact, tomorrow I think I have an interview for Ireland.
Excellent, excellent. And I think that there are parts of Europe that are very that have a lot of promise and a lot of potential right now in terms of software development and information systems technology, things like that. And I would include Germany as an example of one of those countries. I'm just putting the mute on Bilal right there. I know I've had a couple of several students who I've worked with who have gone to work in Berlin, for example, and that's definitely a computer capital right now, I think, as far as Europe is concerned. Jesus, thank you for joining us. I really look forward to speaking with you in this class. Now let me say hello, because everyone is here, so I will get started and say hello to her. Hello, Andrew. Welcome back. How are you?
Hello, sir. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. We're expecting thunderstorms today, so I'm excited. I'm excited. It's always fun to live in Tennessee where we get thunderstorms in April. Now, remind me, are you looking for work right now? Are you studying?
Yeah, I got 1 year left.
Okay, right. Okay, and remind me again, when you finish your studies, what kind of work do you want to do?
You know, in next year I'll finish my university, and actually I'm going to the United States for a year to take a course in English there.
Okay. Do you know where in the United States you're going?
No, I would prefer to go to Florida.
Why is that?
No, I've got a temple from Florida.
And okay, right.
Mm-hmm.
So you know someone. The good news is that it is not hard to make friends in the United States. So wherever you end up, I'm sure you'll quickly find find yourself quite at home there. Very, very, most of the time, very welcoming country to live and work and study in as well. So I think that sounds really exciting. Welcome back to class, and I look forward to speaking with you more. Andrew, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Let me also say hello to Ali Ahmed. How are you today, Ali?
Oh, hi, teacher. I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent. Okay. Remind me, are you looking for work at the moment?
Yes.
And what kind of work are you looking for? What kind of job?
I'm an engineer. I'm looking for a job in a company or something.
Okay, engineer, got it. Thanks, Ali. Welcome back to class. Let me say hello to Hawani. Hello, Hawani. Welcome back.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Oh, yes, Ali. I've got to move on, and the sound isn't great with you, Ali, but I heard what you were looking for. So let me move on and say hello to Hawani. Hello, Hawani.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm pretty good this morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Now, remind me, are you looking for work at the moment, or are you working right now?
No, I'm working with Orange, but I'm looking for another job.
Okay. And are you looking for another job in the same business, or is it something?
Yes.
Is it something different?
In the same business.
Okay.
This subject is the big problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
Always I send my CV to another company foreign company,
Mm-hmm.
and they call me to make an interview.
Mm-hmm.
A native speaker speak with me, so I can't understand him, and I can't do this interview with him. This
Sure.
is the big problem for me.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Hawani, you are not alone. That can be very challenging for people speaking English as a second language to have a successful, especially a successful phone conversation with someone. But a Skype call,
here in Tunisia, we don't speak English, never.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we speak Arabic or French.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the problem for me.
Yeah, no, and I understand, and all I'm saying, Hawani, is that it is a common difficulty to get that practice you need and that preparation, so you can be successful in a job interview, or even just the conversations prior to a job interview, the kind of conversation when someone has looked at your resume or your CV and wants to invite you to an interview. That short conversation, of course, can be a difficult one if we're not prepared for it, if we're not comfortable speaking English with a native speaker like that. Well, I hope we get to practice some of those points with you today, Hawani. Let me say hello to Julio. Hello, Julio.
Hi, teacher. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Nice one. Tell me, where are you from?
I'm from Timor-Leste.
Oh, where's that?
Between Australia and Indonesia.
I don't know anything, you see. So, but now I know. Now I know today. I shall look at that on my map after class, and I'll find you. It's really great to welcome you to Verbling. Tell me, are you working right now?
No, I'm a student.
Oh, right. Okay. What are you studying?
Architecture.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Thank you. And
But
when
now
yeah.
I'm in Thailand. I'm in Thailand.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
And so when you finish your studies, where do you want to work?
Hopefully, I can get some job like what I am thinking to do in the future, like my course as architect.
Sure.
As an architect in the future, I try to work with my field of study. That's,
of course,
that's
yeah.
Yeah.
No, no, and that makes complete sense, of course. But where would you like to work? I mean, would you like to work in Thailand, for example, or somewhere else?
I don't have any plan to work in Thailand, but hopefully I try to find a job. But I prefer to work in my own country to contribute to develop my country, because we are any country, so we need the human resource to develop our country. So we have to work in my country. I have to work in my country.
Well, I think that's a really positive aim. Thank you. That's I guess I didn't want to do that because I moved, but moved away from my home country. But I think they didn't need me. It was fine. I was surplus to Scotland's requirements. I think. Thanks for joining us in class today. I look forward to speaking with you a little bit more. Let me say hello to Khaled. Hello, Khaled. Oh, can't hear you yet. Can you unmute that microphone so we can hear you?
Hello.
There we go. How are you today?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm pretty good. Tell me, remind me, where are you from?
I'm from Libya.
Libya, welcome to Verbling. Great to see you here.
Thanks.
Are you working right now? Or are you looking for work?
No, I'm working now.
What do you do?
I'm employed in our embassy in Moscow.
Oh, right. Okay. So you're working in Russia at the moment.
Yes. I'm working in Russia, and also I'm studying here.
Oh, okay.
At the same time.
Excellent. And okay. So are you happy with your work and your studies right now? Do you want to change that, or are you happy where you are?
Yes, of course. I won't change it.
Okay. Well, this is the class for you then. I'm glad to see you, Khaled. We'll talk more in the class. All right. Let me say hello too. Now is that I've got an MD Fardin. Is it Mud, or are those initials? You tell me.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. How do I say your name?
Fardeen. Fardeen.
I will call you Fardin. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty good today. It's good to see so many people in class as well. Tell me, Fardeen, where are you from?
I am from India.
India, great to meet you. Welcome to this Verbling class. What are you working at the moment, Fardeen?
No, actually I'm doing MBA right now.
Oh, very cool. Okay. And what do you want to do after your MBA?
Actually, my major is finance, so I want to.
Okay, and where do you want to work? Do you want to work in India, or do you want to work abroad?
Anywhere in the whole world.
That's very flexible. I like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've been that flexible as well, and thought I'll just do anywhere. I don't mind. But well, that's interesting. Maybe we'll talk about potential countries for jobs and things in a future class. Good to meet you, Fardeen. Thank you for joining us here. Let me say hello to Mustafa. Hello, Mustafa. How are you today? Mustafa, can you hear me okay? I can't hear you yet, so maybe you need to unmute that microphone so we can hear you. We shall see. Let me say hello finally to Talita. Thanks for being patient there. Hello, Talita. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm pretty good. Tell me, because I don't even want to show you outside of my window because I got to tell you, we are going to have a very exciting storm at some point today. How's the weather with you, Talita?
It's sunny.
Yeah, I'm a little bit jealous.
It's really hot here.
Yeah, it's kind of warm here, but it's warm before a storm, if you know what I mean. So I think that they're sending out advice about not leaving the house and hiding in the basement today. So that's the fun part about living in Tennessee. But I'll make sure that I stay online and my computer doesn't explode or anything, and so we can have this class. Good to see you again, Talita. Thanks for joining us. All right, it's so good to have a full class here today. I know this is a really important subject for, well, for me as well, of course, and we often need to look for a new job, or we're looking for a new opportunity. And if that opportunity is with an English-speaking company, it's really important, of course, that we prepare and practice so that we are comfortable and calm speaking with people. Because, hey, of course, the most important thing if you want to work for a company is that your skills and experience match with that organization. Actually, you have a loud keyboard today. I'm going to mute that microphone for a second. But of course, we need that skills and experience. But we also need to be able to explain and tell them about our skills and experience. And let's be honest, most of the time, if you want to get a job, you are going to have to speak verbally to that company. An application form, well, that's the first step, but it's not going to be enough. Either they'll want to speak to you on the phone or on Skype, and if things go really well, most of the time, they'll want to speak to you in person, whether it's a company operating in a foreign country or an English-speaking company operating in your home country. They're still going to want to speak to you, and with these English-speaking companies, they're going to want to speak to you in English as well. And that, a lot of the time, that's not because they need your English to be perfect. Not at all. But they are going to want to make sure that you are able to express yourself and explain yourself in English, that you're able to tell them about, well, of course, the best things about you, and also about the reasons that you want to get this job, to be able to talk about your past and your present, and of course, potentially your future with this company as well. So we absolutely need to practice that. If we go into an interview unprepared, just as a native speaker, if you go into an interview unprepared for the questions they might ask, it's very difficult just to come up with those good answers on the spot. So much better if we practice. And of course, I can't promise, we can't anticipate every question they're going to ask, but we have a pretty good idea of the sort of things they're asking, because we know the kinds of things that employers are wondering about. It really, in terms of the different industries and jobs that we've heard about today, companies are really interested in the same kinds of things. They're wondering and asking themselves the same questions about you when you're sitting there in the interview. Before we really get going, let me ask you all a question. What do they want to know in a job interview?
I think maybe your skills. Or the way you are, because not it's just your skills. Some companies want knows how you are. If you are open person, open mind.
Okay, so we've got skills and maybe character, or maybe, of course, or working style. I think, Jesus, I think those are two really good points. Why? Let's make it simple. Why do they want to know about your skills? Why does that matter?
What? Sorry.
Why do they want to know? Why do they want to know about your skills? Sorry. One more time with the question. Why do they want to know about your skills? Why is that important?
Because they work.
Let me stay with Jesus for a second. Sorry.
Because they want a profile, a person with one profile. Then they want to know which skills you have for contract you.
All right, thank you. I think that's pretty solid. So they want to know, and this is true for any company. That's what makes it really quite simple. Can you do the job? And so it's simple to know what they want to know. It's much harder, of course, or it takes a lot more preparation to figure out, well, how do I answer that question? And that's going to be different for each of us, of course. We all need to think, what are the best things I can talk about? What are the specific examples? I think that was from Johnny. Sorry, I can hear some strange noises from you there, Johnny. Need to mute that microphone for a second. Yes, they're going to be looking for some specific examples. So they want evidence, right? It's like, can you do the job? And we'll say, of course we do, because I've done this, this, and this. Oh, and I'm very good at this. So just as Jesus points out, we're looking, for skills and experience as well, of course, your past doing these things. And he also pointed out the, how do you work? Your work working style. And perhaps that could be character and partly personality, but it's also your ability to work well, probably with a range of different people, either at different levels in a company or just with different working styles, and how do we get over those things. And I would absolutely want to focus on in other classes about our communication skills and about our team working skills, things like that. But today I want to look really very closely at the very first question they might ask you in a job interview. Can anyone tell me what's the most common question they ask in an English-speaking job interview? That very first question.
What's your personality? If you are open-minded, or if you are able to work in a group.
They want to know those things. Absolutely, they're interested, and they will ask you questions about that. It's probably not the very first question they'll ask.
Tell me about yourself, or
Yeah, that's it.
That's the one. I think I've got 2 votes for tell me about yourself. And
May I try?
Well, you can in 1 second. Let me just type the question out.
Why you want to do this job?
And why you want? Yeah, and then let's put that one in as well. Why do you want this job? Why do you want this job? Of course they want to know that, right? They want to know because they want to know if you want the job today, but also, and I'm assuming you do want the job if you're in that job interview, but people don't always have a very clear idea of why they want the job. So they're going to ask this question because they want to know, oh, sure, you want it today, but what about next week? What about 6 months' time? They don't want someone who doesn't really know what they want, who's going to change their mind, because that guy or that gal costs them money. If we start work at a company and leave after 3 weeks because we realize, oh, this isn't what I thought it was, that's an inconvenience for them. It loses them money, and it costs them money as well. So they, especially these days, employers are very careful to ask potential employees, why is this the right job for you? And of course, why should we hire you? Absolutely. But yeah, just like you say, why do you want the job? It seems like a simple question, but they're looking for some quite specific things. They want you to reassure them that you know where you are in your career, that this is a logical next step for you in terms of your career and your job direction. Let's go back with tell me about yourself. Does anyone want to, who wants to answer that question first of all? Tell me about yourself. Who would like to try that? Oh, and a hand raising, and I could see that because you were on video. Mustafa, excellent. Let's try it. Mustafa, hey, welcome to the interview. I'm really glad you could make it. I've read your application. I'm really interested in what you've been up to. But first of all, hey, tell me about yourself.
About what?
About yourself. Tell me about yourself.
My name is Mustafa. I am from Egypt. I'm at the last year at Faculty of Law, so I will be a lawyer. I wanna to get the IELTS exam and travel to UK and work for a company.
Okay, and that's a great answer from me. That tells me all sorts of good things about you. So thank you, Mustafa. I appreciate you answering that question first of all. Let me ask all of you in class right here.
Yeah.
When they ask you this question, let's start at the start. When they ask you, hey, tell me about yourself. Why do they ask you that question? I mean, because it's probably going to be the first question they ask. What is that question for? What is the purpose?
They want to know your experience.
Okay, so let's put down, okay, so we've got experience. What else do they want to know about?
They want to know your education.
Yeah, qualifications, yeah. This question, and my suggestion to you to everyone about this question is one of the reasons they ask it, because, you know, tell me about yourself. The things you're going to talk about, they probably already know, because they're going to have your CV or resume, or application.
Check it.
So exactly. So this is they're asking the question partly because they want to really check that what you tell them matches the resume. And I don't mean they're checking to see if you're lying. They just want to check to make sure that you're consistent. Because, as you know, if your CV or your resume, if it's really well written and it gives people a really good idea of the experience and skills that you have and the direction that you want to head in, that's great. But writing it down isn't enough. They're also going to want to hear it from you as well. So when they say, tell me about yourself, yes, they're listening for skills and experience, but they're really checking to see, okay, right, is he saying the same thing with his mouth that he said on paper? I'm getting a blinking noise. Let me just, if that was Mustafa, I'm sorry, I just want to take some of the sound out of the room if you're not talking to me directly. Okay, there we go. So yes, they want to check that you're being consistent. They also want to give you an opportunity just to speak, and it's the same if you're a native English speaker, but I think even more important if you're using English as a second language. A lot of these interviews, when you speak with an English-speaking company, if it's a company that's based in your country, of course it could be a British or American company. It could also be a German company. It could be a French company. It could be a company from anywhere in the world. But it's very likely that they'll want to speak English because it's as they say, this is the global language of business. So you might have a German speaking English to a Russian in a job interview, and in a situation like that, it's a little bit more difficult sometimes when we're hearing different accents, different pronunciation, maybe even some different vocabulary as well. So this first question seems like an easy question, right? And it's an easy question at the start because they want to let you say anything. And in the interviews I've run, it's been very common just to ask a question. And of course that question could be, well, how was your journey? Or is it raining outside? Or do you need a glass of water? Just to get someone to help someone to start speaking. And you could let them speak for a minute or so. And then after that, the more serious questions, maybe the more probing questions you're going to ask. Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
To make first impressions of you.
Oh, absolutely. That's a really good point. And of course, we know if the interview is in the room, that first impression will start as soon as you walk in, as soon as you sit down. And so there is a lot about how we use eye contact, how we smile, how we position ourselves.
But when we will start to speak, they will definitely make their first impression, and they will know to take you on the job or no. In first minute after you speak, you just speak. They say, yes, this is our man. No, this is not our man.
Or woman, yeah. I think that's an interesting point, and I agree that there have been studies that say, yes, within the first 60 seconds, or even within the first 15 seconds, people make up their mind about that. And so, of course, you kind of wonder, well, what is the rest of that half hour or 60 minutes about?
They convince themselves it is right that what they thought about you in first minute or not.
I think
they convincing themselves.
I think it's an interesting point. I don't think there's a definitive answer on this, and I know that people have been very promising in the first 5 minutes of an interview, and there are plenty of people who have been in interviews and are looking like they're going to get the job, and then 50 minutes in, a question to some seemingly easy answer, well, they blow it, and then they lose that chance. So yes, you're right. Of course, the first few seconds, first few minutes can be tremendously important, absolutely, in terms of how we look and what we say. But we need to be switched on for the whole of the interview, because at any point, really, they can throw a difficult question at you, and we need to be prepared for all those questions. Tell me about yourself. So we know why they're asking it. They want to know if you match the paper version of you, if the spoken version matches the paper version. They want to know, of course, about your skills and experience, why you're in the room, What are the things you talk about? If they ask this question, let me ask you all. Let's try and give this a structure. So maybe there's 2 or 3 things we want to talk about when we're answering. Tell me about yourself. So what are the first couple of things that we should include in our answer?
What study do you have? Where you worked?
Mm-hmm. Okay,
and
so education.
What you work at the moment, and why you applying for this job?
Okay, current position and why do you want? Oops, let me change that.
But why you applying? I think no.
Why not?
Because they didn't ask you.
Well, that's an interesting point. And if we look at the question, tell me about yourself, you could say anything you wanted, right? Because that is the broadest question anyone could ever ask you. I mean, you could start talking about your pet dog. You could start talking about a favorite aunt. You could talk about the walks you like to take at the weekend, favorite color, astrological sign. You could answer anything. Of course, the truth is, when they say, tell me about yourself, they're really looking for something quite specific. I would absolutely include in your answer why you're here today. And I would suggest to you most of our answers in a job interview should end with a reason, either why you're good for this job or why you've applied for this job.
What specific skills do you have? You can say what do you like to do in your job, and this what you say to correspond with their job position, what they offer.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I like to make research of the companies, I don't know, and they looking for it, something like that. So they will see that you correspond to their criteria.
Yeah, Igor, I think that's a really good point. And of course, we have to do our homework. If we don't read up on a company, we're not doing our due diligence. Yeah. Because the truth is, even if a company if you put your application or your CV on a major jobs website, you could get a lot of phone calls. You could get a lot of companies saying, "Oh, can we set up a Skype interview? Can we call you on the phone for an interview with our HR people?"
Sorry, Hamish, what did you say? A lot of phone calls. What do you use?
Phone calls.
Phone calls. Okay.
Yeah. You could get a lot of calls like that, but the truth is, we're not going to want to take all those calls. We're not going to want to accept all those interviews, because until you do a little bit of homework into those companies, you're not going to know if you want to work for them. Okay, and of course these days it's much easier in 2013 to do our due diligence, to do the research we need to do to make sure that this is a good fit for us, at least on paper or on screen, that we could potentially want to work for these people. There's no point, if we go in for an interview, of course, half an hour into that interview, they could ask, well, of course, why do you want to work with us? But if they want to push it a little bit more, maybe they'll ask, what do you like about us? Or what don't you like about our company? We need to have an answer prepared for that kind of situation. And of course, we need to be careful about the things that we say negatively about a company. But it's important that we have something to say, and we can have a strong and clear opinion most of the time simply by just doing that internet search, by looking at how they present themselves on a website. So these are important things. But let's go back to our little summary there. We had education. Let's click it. Wait 1 second.
Previous job?
Yeah, sorry, I was just getting a bit of clicking.
Where did you work?
Right, we've got education, work experience, current position, and I would absolutely encourage you to include why you want the job, because really, if they give you a minute to answer, tell me about yourself, and they're just looking for a 60-second answer, you've got time there to talk about, here's my qualifications, here are the things I'm best at, my skills and experience, here's the summary of my career. And hey, of course, for some people that's a 25 or 40-year summary. For other people, maybe they've freshly graduated. Either way, here's my work history, here's my current job, and here's why I'm sitting here today. Here's why I want to work with you. Here's why I'm such a good match for you. That's still telling them about yourself, but it's linking you to them. And Igor, you made a really solid point about making sure that you match the criteria they're setting out, whether it's an advert on the internet or something you see in a listings or something even someone sends to you. Check, especially those top 3 or 4 essential skills or essential things they're looking for. And if you match them, say so. Make sure
to say
make
that
sure
you
it's clear.
like to do. Do not say that I only match, but I like to do these kind of things, but not exactly what they write on their website, but related to that skill.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's a good idea to paraphrase what they're looking for.
And a very good idea, I think, is to go as many interviews as you can. So you will practice, for example, to send CVs and to go at all interviews and to say at all interviews something new, and you will see what works, what doesn't work, and you will deduce the best formula for you.
I think that's an interesting point. I wouldn't, for example, I wouldn't go for an interview if I didn't feel that I could do that job, or if I didn't feel that I would want that job. I feel that would be a waste of time for me. However, I would say, of course, any interview you have is a valuable experience, because 3 things are going to happen, right? Either they give you the job, either they don't give you the job, or the middle one, they still don't give you the job, but because you had a good interview with them, they remember you. And I know I've had this experience myself, and I know about a lot of other people I've worked with and friends that I know in all sorts of businesses where, yes, they don't get that particular job they were going for, but 6 weeks or even 6 months down the line, they get another phone call from that company that says, oh, well, another position has come up and we really liked you. Can you come back in and talk to us again? And then they get that shot. So if we do our best in a job interview, yes, it's absolutely, it's a wonderful, well, it's hard work and scary, of course, a lot of the time, but it's a great experience in English, and it's, of course, if we learn from our mistakes and learn from that experience, it brings us one step closer to getting the job that we really want, and probably the job that we're actually meant to do.
Ideal answers to interview will bring us one step. So when we will go to our favorite job, we will be 100% prepared to answer all questions.
I hope so. I hope so. That's an ideal situation. I must admit, even for myself, I've never had a perfect job interview, but I do know that the better I prepare for an interview, it's like a magic trick. The luckier I get, right? The harder we work, the luckier we get, the more opportunities we get. And I think probably there is a connection between hard work and getting the things that we want. All right, so we've got, let's remind ourselves, oh yeah, we've got skills and experience, work history, current position, and why we want the job. Is there anything else? You know, we've got this question at the start. Oh, hey, tell me about yourself. Is there anything else we could include in an answer like that?
I think that we must do is practice before an interview. I don't know the other students here, but when I make a interview for a job, I shake myself completely and lose the words that I want to say. So if I know the questions that they will make, for example, my education, my skills, why I want the job, these things, I think it's easier for me to explain the things and calm myself. It's correct.
Yeah. To calm yourself down, absolutely, or to remain calm, or to stay calm, absolutely, and of course not, or the reverse, not to panic, not to feel over anxious in a job interview.
I stay like this. Oh my God, what I'm going to tell. You know?
No, absolutely, and
I forgot everything. I don't know how to speak English when I made a job interview, especially in English.
Oh, absolutely. We know. I mean, Talita, you're absolutely right. We know it's hard enough when we have a job interview in our native language, and then if we add a second language like English to that, yes, of course, that makes it even harder. On the other hand, I would say, of course, it should feel very natural for us to think, okay, we're speaking English, not our first language, so we need to prepare for this interview. And so I would say a lot of the time, someone who's using English as a second language for a job interview is going to be more practiced and perhaps better prepared than a native English speaker who just walks in and thinks, oh, well, this is easy. I just talk about what I did, right? That's no problem. Yeah. That unprepared person is going to have some problems. But Talita, I agree with you 100%. It's so important for us to reduce the anxiety. We're going to have a little bit of excitement in a job interview, and that's good because that's going to help us. It shows as someone who is passionate and enthusiastic. It shows that someone wants the job. If we're laid back and detached, well, why would an employer want that person? They want someone who is excited about this business as they are. They're in that business for a reason, and they want someone who is enthusiastic.
To ask questions about job, about role, not only listen.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Absolutely. They are looking for someone. If we can't be enthusiastic, if we can't show that we're passionate in a job interview, well, there's no way you can be that you're going to be passionate about that job.
Hamish, I have a question.
If I give it to you, sure, go ahead.
For example, many interviewers, where you go to find a job, yes, and you go on an interview, they at the end of interviews they say this sentence. Do you have any question to ask?
Yes.
Can you ask if you want to ask us? It's okay to ask such a question. When you will contact me, and if you do not contact me, when I can contact you? It's okay or it's not okay to ask such a question?
I always do this.
What a great question. What a great question. This is a little bit off our topic, but I can see that people are interested in the answer. So let's go with it, because
I always do this.
It's very important because many job offers they say this sentence. If you have any questions, ask us.
I think we've got 2 points here, right? First of all, one is what kind of questions are good to ask the interviewer in an interview. Let's put that to one side for a second, because you're asking specifically, is it okay to ask?
Yes.
Well, when are you going to let me know, kind of thing?
Yes, when you will contact me, and if you don't contact me, can I contact you, and when to do this? But in a shorter sentence, not so long, but in a shorter.
I understand. What does everyone think? Is it okay to ask a question like that?
Yeah.
For me, I think that the questions is better ask about, for example, the company. But for example, which projects are you involved, or what exactly, or how you work? So foresee that you want to know more about the company.
Oh, absolutely. And in terms of the questions that we could ask the company, we're going to prepare really quite carefully, because these questions, it's not really about showing off. It's not about showing, oh, I've read the book on your company and I can tell you all these things. It's worthwhile if we have a real question, because of course the more you learn about something, often, I know this is true for me, the more curious we are.
I think if we ask question during the interview, it is a good opportunity to like the panel interview to know more our ability, how we can make a discussion, because some job might combine with this kind of job. That's why they offer this opportunity to us to have a chance to ask question, because this is like one clarification to show that we understand what we are going to do in the future. I mean.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely, and a lot of the questions we might have for the company, for the employer, are going to be informed really by the questions they ask us, because a classic interview question is, well, where do you see yourself in 2 years' time or 5 years' time? And we can answer that question, but we also have an opportunity, and we have an opportunity in a job interview. It's very hard to ask this question outside of a job interview, but we could say, oh, well, I see myself doing this, this, and this. And then, of course, it's a very natural question to say, well, the person who gets this job, where do you see them in 2 years' time or 3 years' time? And if they have no answer for that, I think that gives you some very interesting information about the organization and about the professionalism of that organization. But if they have a very clear idea about the successful applicant's development, about their future responsibilities, I think that's really helpful information. And it also shows, of course, they're thinking carefully about this job. And if I'm going for a job, I want my employers to be thinking very seriously about what they want from that person. I don't want just to be filling a temporary.
Can I have a question?
Yeah, of course you can.
I just have some question, like as my experience. I was I did one interview. This is not a job interview, but like a scholarship interview, and it's difficult for me to manage what I'm thinking, because there is like the question come and I have a lot of thoughts in my mind to say, but it's difficult to summarize it or to make it systematically. So that's why I confuse. So my opinion is what you are going to suggest us to make us, like, if we go to prepare for some interview, we have to manage all our idea or opinion or some kind of opinion that we are thinking. We make it conclude it to be like shortly, because it's very hard to me or maybe to someone else, because to say it briefly, and I think so.
Yes, it is. It's for a lot of people, and myself included, very challenging to express ourselves in a short amount of time. The truth is, for most people, this is a question of practice and preparation. And of course, it's about having a very clear idea of who you are, of what you're good at, what you've done, what you're doing right now, and what you want to do. And if we don't think about these things, if we don't take the time to write it out or draw it out, or just go away and sit on a bench and think about it, it's very hard for us to talk about. I can speak very easily about my job requirements and things now, because I've had so many experiences having job interviews like this and giving interviews of this kind, and I know what they're looking for, and I know, I'm old enough and experienced enough to know how that goes. But especially for people at the start of their career, or people older who want to change their career or their job, it can be very difficult to express in a short amount of time exactly what they're looking for. But it's essential. It's essential that we can do that. If we're not ready to do that, we need to work on it. Yeah, and we need to just do the thinking. And I don't have some one size fits all answer in terms of how you go about doing that, because in terms the way we crystallize our thoughts, the way we make it easy to understand, that's different for everyone. And most of the time, I would suggest to people, think about how you've studied, think about how you do your academic work, think about how you write papers or answer questions in a test. How do you prepare for an exam? And that includes, how do you relax before an exam, but also how do you best prepare as well. Prepare your answers, because of course, when we learn a new subject, we learn a lot of information, and we summarize. We think of the key points, and our work experience is really just a test, a question for us to give in this job interview, which feels a little bit, of course, like an exam. I realize we never quite got to the point about whether it's a good idea to ask about. So let me give you a quick answer on that one.
Yes.
It's a great idea. Okay, and the way I think about this is
you are interested in job, and you want to find the answer.
That's one really good point. It shows that you want the job, first of all, and of course, if the interview has gone well, especially, if you have a good feeling about this, of course you want to ask. But I would also say I think of job interviews in the same way I think of a meeting. If I go for a business meeting with a client, a customer, or a colleague, at the end of that meeting, of course, I always want to know, well, what happens next? If I've agreed to do something, I need to tell them, okay, so I'm agreeing to do this. If they've agreed to do something, I want to make sure that they know that I'm expecting that from them. I think a very easy, very simple way to ask this question, to find out, when are they going to call you, is just to say, could you tell me about the next steps?
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, but I think if you know that you probably got it, you do this question. But sometimes the interviewer do this face. And you know that you don't got it the job, and why make this question? So I think the pain depends of your interview.
Oh, I think that's a fair point, Alita. And sure, if you have a bad feeling about this interview, if you think this isn't going to work out, if you're not motivated to try and get that job because you think, okay, well, this isn't working, then fine, don't ask the question. If you want to know when they're going to call you, if you want to know if there's another step, a second interview, a technical interview, is there a test? Especially for software developers and programmers, often it's much more than just an interview. They'll want you to actually show that you can develop software, that you can solve technical problems, for example. If that's going to happen, of course you need to know about it. So if you're motivated to find out about what happens next, then ask, because of course there are worse things than this, but to leave an interview and to spend the next 2 weeks every day thinking, oh, they didn't call, oh, they didn't call, oh, they didn't call.
I always do this.
Yeah, it doesn't help, does it?
My God.
There's no value to that, because we should be spending our time thinking about other things.
Can I have one more question?
Yeah, of course you can.
If they may ask like, how many salary do you want to get? How do we answer? because some interviewer they may ask this question. I don't know why.
How much you give?
How much?
You can ask how much you give.
That's a really big question, and you know what? I'm going to put it in the chat here because we're going to talk about that another time, because that would take us an hour. Okay, right. So let me take a note, and I'm promising it here right now. I'm going to do a class on that because okay, very important question, and it depends on the culture of the company. And it depends on where they're working, it depends on the business, and it depends on the type of job. There are lots of things. And it's not just about the interview, it's about the application. Sometimes they ask you to give that salary expectation. So even when you're in the interview, they know already what you're asking for. I have some strong views about how you negotiate salary, but in 7 minutes we have no chance of covering that. So I don't want to give you a very small. I don't want to mislead you with a very short information. But I appreciate that. I hear what you're saying. I hear the question, and absolutely, I would love to cover that in a verbal class. Absolutely right.
We can talk it later, but like you just give us like some hints, like why they ask this question. this kind of question?
Well, why? I mean, if you want to know why they're asking the question, they're asking the question because they want to pay you the least amount possible,
Okay.
right? Because they want you for they want the cheapest worker they can get. They want to make a business. This is not a mean thing to do or a bad thing to do. They, you know, if you said I'll take 20,000 cats, they're going to give you 20,000 cats, right? Because why would they give you more than that? It wouldn't make sense.
But if they have a standard salary for that position, and you came, and you know that, for example, salary is $1,000, for example, per month, and you say, I want only 600, they will think that something is wrong with you, and they will not take you because you are cheap, but you are not professional.
And this is why it takes more than 6 minutes to talk about this subject. Igor, I absolutely agree with you. By the way, we can't undervalue ourselves. If we go into a job and offer something cheap, it feels cheap. And even if someone gives us the job, they're going to have a bad feeling about us and think, oh, really? They took that low offer? Is there something wrong with them? And that's a serious issue. We don't want to start our business with a company like that in that situation where they think, oh, they're too cheap. There's something wrong here. Absolutely not. I just want to repeat the point, though, that yes, at the end of the interview, it makes absolute sense to ask about the next steps. You know, what are the next steps? A lot of the time, if you have a professional interviewer, it's on their list, right? They're going to make sure you know exactly what they're going to do in terms of, well, you know, what's the time frame for them to give you a response, or they'll let you know about a second interview or a test, or they'll ask for references. They're going to be very clear if they're a professional, well-trained interviewer. Of course, we know a lot of the time job interviewers are not professional, well-trained interviewers. A lot of the time, maybe it's just the person who would be your boss or would be your manager in a company. And also, the person who interviews you, maybe they didn't know until 5 minutes ago that they're giving you that interview. Maybe they've been called in because someone is sick. So sometimes you're going to get someone who can be very clear about next steps, things like that. Yeah, let me just got the sound in there for a second. But sometimes they're not going to. Maybe they just don't remember. Maybe they just forget, or maybe they're disorganized. We know things happen. People have got bits of paper all over the place. So if they don't tell you, and it's almost time to go, and they might not say, "Have you got any questions?" But if they haven't told you about the next steps, ask them. And if they can't tell you, then that gives you another answer about, well, do I really want to work for this company? But just for your own peace of mind, for your own reassurance, for your own stress levels, try to ask them for something specific about, well, when can I expect to hear from you? And you know what? Because it's great. If they don't tell you, if they give you an answer and say, okay, within 3 days, we'll let you know within 3 days. If they don't tell you, then you give them a call. You send them an email after 3 days and say, oh, we agreed that you would be in touch. It hasn't happened. I'm just checking up. And you know what? If they say no after that, fine. You cross them off the list and you look for the next company, right? But we can't be distracted. We can't afford to be distracted by not knowing. You know,
and if they see that you ask this question when you contact me, they understand that you are interested. Because, for example, from 10 people, only 2 will ask this question, but 8 will not ask. So they will understand that really interested these people in this job position.
I think that's true. I think it can show, it can demonstrate that you are motivated, that you are interested, that you're organized, that you're professional, and of course it also suggests that you're looking at other employers as well. And if we can show that we're someone that is looking for a job, and of course, well, you're the one I really want, but yes, I'm speaking to other companies as well. That can help motivate them to make their decision a little more quickly. Okay. But you're absolutely right. It shows you're interested. It shows you're organized, and it shows that you know how to handle yourself, and you can be assertive in a job interview as well.
I deducted this question from my practice. I was on 5 interviews, and after that I deducted that this question is good to ask.
No, and Igor, I'd absolutely agree with you. I think it just makes sense, because if we treat this as a business meeting, a lot of the time in job interviews, it's very easy to feel that we don't have any power, that the person with the job has all the power. But it's really not like that. Of course they have the job, but they need someone like you. If they didn't think that maybe you're the right person for the job, you're not going to be sitting there. They're not giving you questions just to fill some time in their day. If you're at that interview, you have a genuine chance to get that job. So we need to take it seriously, but we also know, well, it sounds like they want our skills and experience, so you have some power here. It is not 100% them and 0% you. You're selling something, but you're selling something it seems that they want. So we can be assertive, and we can ask them questions about the way they do business in a friendly, calm way, and we can also ask them, what happens next, because I want to be clear about what I can expect from you in the next few days. And yes, that gives me a very clear signal: A, that you want the job, and B, that yes, you are that professional person, and probably more likely to be that professional person that they're looking for. Yeah. We're out of time. Thank you so much. Some really interesting questions. We talked about the subject a little bit today, but we talked about much wider questions about job interviews, and that salary question. Absolutely, we're going to cover that at some point on Verblink. Let me give you my Facebook page. I know some of you already follow me on Facebook, but I want to encourage everybody here today to follow me on Facebook, just because once a week I'm going to give you that schedule. Once on the weekend, I'm going to list the classes that I'll do for the following week, so you can keep in touch with me. Thank you so much for your conversation today. It was really great to have such a variety of students, such a variety of backgrounds and jobs. And bye for now, but I really hope I see you again soon here on Verblink. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Goodbye.